Welcome, birds and turds, to the Angry Bird Pod Show. My name is Kyle. It's my co-host Matt, somewhere over there, and we're doing another guest podcast today. And today we have a guest that I imagine most people have seen, at least in this circle. We got Trav in the bush on the pod today. Unfortunately, not on video, but how's it going, Trav?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. This is great.
No problem.
Thanks for coming.
How do you make a reel?
right off
the top.
I don't know. Right out of the gates.
How do I make a reel? Like, how do I?
No.
How do you make a successful reel? I think he's asking.
I think that's the key. I told Matt earlier, I was like, I really only have one question. And I was like, how do you make a reel? Because I've made one. Actually, no, I've made like three. The first one did really well. And then I tried to make a second one and it did really bad. So I was like, gave up. I was like, I'm not doing that anymore.
When I got started, it was relatable. So anything that was relatable, especially in like the bird photography space or just photography in general. So leaving your lens cap on, forgetting a battery at home, forgetting your SD card, and little things like that, things that everybody could relate to, which then made it shareable, savable, and we get spread around in the circles. That's how it kind of all started for me. And once it kind of picked up and got that traction, I just kept doing it.
Seems to be working for you.
It does, yeah.
Can you scoot your microphone back from your mouth by like a little bit? You're a little clippy.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
FYI.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. That's perfect.
Oh, perfect.
The first reel that I did personally, I made. Do you know the song "Pistol Grip Pump" by Rage Against the Machine?
No Rage Against the Machine, but no, I don't know that song.
Okay, so the lyric is, I got a pistol grip pump on my lap at all times. And so I was driving down a country road looking for snowy owls, and I had my lens just in my lap. So if I saw one, I could jump out. So I just like panned down to my lap with my camera on it. I thought that was the most clever thing in the world.
That's good.
The best. I know it did pretty well. And then the second one just bombed. So I was like, nope.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, it's just sometimes it's just like a little bit of. Sometimes it's just I want to say like that second one that it bombed. Like, you just got to keep going. It's more the consistency. Like, I just had two back to back that bombed, but my third one might do well. The one that you think is going to do terrible pops off for some reason. You don't really.
Right.
It's weird.
Do you have like a skill set in mind, like a level of photographer that you're trying to kind of cater to when you're looking and kind of designing a reel, or is it just kind of like one size fits all for everyone? Because I've noticed a lot of the times the reels that I see are like more like beginner kind of type stuff and don't really get into advanced or intermediate things.
Yeah. So
do you think?
Sorry,
go ahead.
The beginner. I think things that are more beginner level will get you the broader audience. So if you're trying to build up an audience, posting that broader beginner level reels or info is going to help create a larger audience faster. If you go too specific too early, it's a lot harder to reach everybody, because that video is a lot less likely to go for people to send it and things, because it's going to be a smaller niche. And you typically do want to niche down, but when you're starting to build that audience and starting just to get people to come to you, you want more broad.
Okay. Gotcha.
More broad.
Yeah, because when I see a reel, a lot of the times, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm past a certain skill set, but a lot of the times I'm just like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe it's just like, obviously, like past maybe a little bit more of what some of the reels, not just yours, just in general, are kind of trying to cater to. So I figured that it was probably more of a beginner or intermediate kind of level that you're kind of catering to. So that does make sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you remember Do you remember the first photo that like made you feel like you were on the right track? Because obviously you were at a certain point where you were a beginner and you were in, transitioning to intermediate. So is there that photo that like you remember where you're like, you know what, I could start teaching somebody. I think I'm getting the hang of this.
Oh man, that's so hard to I still have imposter syndrome like crazy. Like I still feel like like yeah, that's that's hard to answer because like I still
I don't know
feel
how to
like
live without that.
I know.
Well, the interesting thing about that too is if you do go back a year or two, there's a lot of photos that you thought were amazing that maybe since your skill set has changed or even like what you like to the style you have now is that much different. So you might not even like it anymore yourself. I know I deal with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
Mhm.
I 100% I think that all the time. Like, especially year after year, I'll look back and be like, "Oh, how could I even post that? Like that is garbage." Um
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I think one I can't say I have like just that one set. It's more I feel like this is the first year that I've really been like, okay, these are better. Like this is getting better. And a kind
Mhm.
of big thing for me, and I don't think like you should. What am I trying to say? Like social media can be like a fake validation, but something that's been really cool to watch has been I've been posting my content on other platforms and I haven't been doing the skits. It's just been showing straight like my photos, like kind of I call them camera raised reels, where it's that same thing you've seen a million times to raise the camera slowly and show a video or a photo. But something that has been like
Mhm.
really validating to me is posting it on platforms where I have zero audience and then gaining an audience quickly over there just from showing the photos. So that's been kind of like, okay, um, maybe
Mhm.
I'm definitely getting better because it's getting traction so much faster than what I was posting 2 or 3 years ago. Where a reel like that wouldn't have done well. Where now on Facebook, it's like, oh wow, that one did really well. People really liked that. So
Mhm.
I guess that's more
Hmm.
where it's kind of come from. Like, okay, people are actually interested in like asking me questions.
Oh, that's
Okay.
really cool. I I tried to do the like social media hopping for a little bit. Like I remember it was maybe last year, the year before. I think Peter McKinnon. Do you know who Peter McKinnon is? He's
Oh
not in
yeah,
bird photography. He's okay. So he was all about Vero for a little bit,
yeah,
and then I was like, gonna do what Peter says, and I go over to Vero, and then I posted only there for like a month, and then
yeah.
came waddling back over to Instagram again.
I think a lot of people did. I remember when
Hmm.
that came out and everyone was like, "This is the new Instagram. Instagram is dead." And I
Yeah,
believe I still was seeing Trav's work doing well on Instagram.
I think
There's
so.
obviously like a secret sauce that works on Instagram, and this is my take, but you kind of have to like, for lack of better words, sell out a little bit to be seen.
Yep, I
You know
agree.
what I mean? You have to do more than just the photos to really do
Play the
anything.
game.
So complaining about the algorithm while you're just posting photos, or sorry, Kyle, not to point any fingers, adding a music track on top of a still photo only does so much. There is obviously something that you have to do to really push to get those followers if that's what your goal is.
Yeah, no, I
Mm.
100% agree.
Yeah,
Like you have to
Yeah.
if you want that, if that's what you want to do, you want to grow an audience, yeah, you gotta play the game
Yeah.
a little bit. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
hmm
play the
Complaining.
game until you are established in some way. Like somebody like Peter
Yeah.
McKinnon's a good example. The guy just makes little vlogs every once in a while now because he can. He's Peter McKinnon.
Yep.
Like
he's Peter
Yeah.
McKinnon.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's the kind
yeah.
of like earned. He's the trendsetter, right? What did he do? He posted Vero.
Yep.
We all ran to Vero, right?
Yep.
Um, yeah, but at first,
Yeah,
what was he doing at first? Top 10 tips for best camera, whatever.
Right.
Or, that
You're
was
you're
that's
100%
true.
right.
those were his number one
And
videos at the very start, right? We
yeah.
all got to start kind of playing that game at the beginning.
Yep. And now
That's
we
true.
kind of like taunt you a little bit with I'm done with Instagram. So it's kind of nice. He kind of pulls you back in.
Yeah, I
That
know.
nice tactic.
I know. I even watched that one. That was recent.
Of course, you're like, why? Why? No, I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kidding.
Oh man. So I gotta start. We have to do a top 10 podcast then. I think that's the thing. We have to do a top 10 something something pod
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
That's
yeah. The
the thing.
top 10. I know what you were saying. Yeah, like top 10 ways
Yeah.
to, yeah. Grow Your Photography podcast or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, those.
I don't know. I should be watching that video, not making that at this point. I think. Do you? I don't know. I'm skip this video or this podcast is all about tangents and going off. So I'm just gonna ask a question because
Yeah.
why not? Do you have a favorite subject, like a favorite bird that you can't not take pictures of just because there might be the most photos you have in your storage, but you still have to get more of them? For me, it's an osprey, and I can't not take pictures of ospreys.
Oh, I don't blame you. They're awesome. For me, it's probably just because they're here as the Anna's hummingbird. It's just because it's the one place in Canada we have it all year round. So it's like I did it the other day. I was out and I wanted to shoot shorebirds. And it was a horrible day for it. Tide was high, overcast, sun didn't cut. Like it was like And while I was walking out, like I was leaving the place, and well, there's an Anna's hummingbird here, so I'm going to stay for the next hour and just shoot it for the millionth time. And it's one of those kind of like you're talking about even playing the game, and it's also one of those birds that whenever I post it in a reel or something, it always does well. Tons of other people always imitate it too. It's the same video over and over, just how close can you get to its shining face.
Yeah.
But it
yeah. It's a good bird. That's a solid bird.
No, 100%. And they're
get.
everywhere, and they let you get so close because they just have such little attitudes. So you can get close to them. It's kind of perfect.
Right. I was in San Francisco last year, and I was like shocked at how many there were.
Yeah.
They were all over the place. And around here we have the ruby-throated, and you'll see them every once in a while. But like you couldn't get nearly as close or nearly as like just have as many opportunities as the Annas down there, and it was awesome. Like I rarely shoot hummingbirds because I hardly see them, but the Annas were like so much fun.
Yeah, we're super spoiled out here to have them. Like we have 2 up here, but then you go down to California and they got a bunch of other ones. They got the Allens and like the Costas. Like they got a whole bunch down that way that come to visit. So they definitely are. Yeah, they're pretty spoiled, which is.
So that one sounds like it's a really easy one to photograph. What's the most challenging that you tried to photograph?
Oh. For me,
it's or like some a nemesis bird or something, you know.
For me, it's more anything in flight. I like that. That's more my challenges. Is like this year I wanted to get a nice bufflehead in flight, and I never got one that I was like, oh yeah, that's the one. I got one where I had it, but it's blurry because it locked onto what was in front, and it was perfect, golden light, everything, and it just, yeah. So that was definitely.
Is that a gear or a skill issue?
Oh, it's a skill issue. 100% skill issue.
Okay, I love your honesty.
No, that was just like me. I just need to go out. Like, thing is, to the photo that I want of it, it's hard to get because we don't get the sun. We get overcast days out here. I'm on Vancouver Island, so we get the Pacific Northwest, so we get overcast days all out here in the winter. Or I'm just making excuses. But yeah, that was.
We're all great at it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think I don't have necessarily a nemesis bird, but I really like to try and capture if I can get birds in flight. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do. So I do really enjoy doing that. What about you guys? You guys have your nemesis bird?
Belted kingfisher.
Belted kingfisher is really tough.
Oh yeah.
They're kind of like, they act like a duck. They sense you in the parking lot, get out of your car. You know what I mean?
They take
100%.
and then they laugh at you. They have that cackle that, you know, they kind of laugh at you every time they're flying away. So I mean, I think Kyle and I have the same one. There's been a few that I haven't been able to locate, like a fox sparrow I haven't been able to locate. So it's not so much that's my nemesis because I just keep missing them. But one that I see regularly, I think it would be belted kingfisher. Yeah. Or like a harrier.
Oh yeah, harriers are tough.
Yeah, but a good shot. I have a ton of shit shots. I got a ton of terrible shots of them. Like I have probably 14 gigs of terrible shots. But I just don't have that one, you know, cracker, that crisp shot. So that would be for me.
No, those are good ones
all the time.
Yeah, like I can't.
Yeah, I see
I'm the
Harrier
same
as
way.
well.
A Harrier, I can't get a good shot. I'm the same way. I got a bunch. I even just I just saw some the other day. Got some shots that I thought were good. Came home and like just still not
Yeah.
hard. They're hard to
You
get that
always think they're
crisp,
good.
nice one.
Yep. Yep. And often in flight, right? Like how many do you really see posted up? You can obviously, but most of the time it's that combination of that bird in flight and the type of bird that as soon as you spot it or you see it driving and you get out of the car, it's already kind of turned and is now kind of drifting away from you deeper into the field, or
Yep.
it's kind of a mix of the two. Yeah.
Kyle, you were saying that you
I
got
had
some near
one.
you.
I have a lot of farm around me, so there's a lot of their sort of habitat. I
Yeah.
see them all the time. I guess you don't know this. We've never talked before, but when I was growing up, I was into birds and stuff, and I would always ask my dad, who worked outside for his job, if he'd seen any birds and stuff. And he worked for hydro, so we'd always be outside in fields and stuff working on poles. And he would tell me about harriers and stuff. So I'd always be like looking out into fields for hawks and harriers or turkey vultures and stuff. So my eyes just kind of still to this day are always looking. So I can spot a harrier 2 fields over just doing its cruisy stuff. If I pull over, it flies far away. If I see one close and I pull over, it sees me in banks and it's gone.
Yeah.
I had one good opportunity a couple years ago where I was standing at the side of a river and I happened to see a female kind of working her way up the shore, and it did end up flying over me. But I don't, it was a definite skill issue. Like I didn't have the right shutter speed and I was kind of panicking because it was getting close and I was sort of excited. So it did, I got some shots, but nothing that I'm overly proud of. But I see them all the time, and I wish I could get a good shot of them too.
Same way. See them all the time. They're just such a difficult bird.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tough.
So
That's why you
cool,
don't
though.
see too many good photos of them. You will once in a while come across somebody that got lucky, but a lot of the times they're just, I think they're the type of bird that know exactly how to just to stay out of distance enough for you just to get a mediocre photo. I think they do it on, I think they do it on purpose. Let's be honest.
100%.
Well, you pointed out, Matt, you always have them like when you zoom in, they're always looking straight at you from
Oh
like
yeah.
across
I'm
the
like,
field. They're like, nope.
He didn't see me, and then I like zoom in on the LCD, and I'm like, my lord, he's looking right at me.
With his little heart-shaped face, like, no way.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, Trav, is Gray Ghost an acceptable nickname for them or not?
I think so. Like I forget which one it is. Is it the male or female? That like is more of a grayish
male.
tone. Yeah, so the
male,
male.
yeah.
And that's even one that like, whenever I see one online, somebody got a nice shot, it gets my attention. I'm like, ooh, like good for
Of
you.
course, because
That's
you just don't. Yeah, you don't see too many of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't like the nickname for some reason. I'm just kind of a curmudgeon about it. I'm like, no, it's just a male harrier. Like, why do you have to have a nickname for it?
That's fair.
Like, take that, Carl.
But Trav, he will call snowy owls tundra pumpkins.
Yep, that's acceptable. I don't know why. It's
This is
true.
just the shit on Matt and Kyle pod.
That's fine. That's kind of what the podcast is anyway.
Trav, you run workshops, right?
Yeah.
So how do you scout for locations for your bird photography, especially like when it has to do with like guided workshops? And like,
And where
how
are
do
they?
you and where are they?
I'm just joking.
Like when you do scout, is a lot of the stuff that you do, is it local, or do you go to more known areas, or both?
No. So right now I'm going mostly to known areas, and for me it's can I want to be able to guarantee the guests what they're coming for to the best of my ability. That's kind of
Sure.
what I
People
mostly
are paying, right?
Yeah, exactly. People
Yeah.
are paying, and then at the same time, something where we can like it's a workshop, so I want to actually be able to teach it. So that means there has to be consistent birds there. So a great like the one I run out in Newfoundland, it's bird colonies, perfect. Like seabird colonies are incredible, and they're also like amazing practice. You have thousands of gannets flying everywhere. They're big, they're slow, they're beautiful. It's like you could sit there for hours. Hey, you're having a hard time shooting birds in flight? all right, we're gonna sit here for the next hour or two and get it down. So
Right.
that's the main kind of key ingredient is like,
Mhm.
can you just guarantee that they're getting what they're coming for to the best of your ability. At the end of the day, wildlife's wildlife. You could show up there and it's the thickest fog you've ever seen in your life, and you can't even see the bird. That's
Yeah,
also
that's the unpredictable part. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But most people like understand that. So
Mhm.
yeah, just doing your best and putting on the best the best. I don't want to say the best performance, but like best experience that you can, and setting it all up for that. And I have a guiding background, so I worked as a multi-day hiking, sea kayaking, and I did dog sledding
Oh,
in the wintertime. That's what I did
Oh,
in
okay.
my for a
that's
long
sweet.
time. So then I kind of transferred those skills into my main passion of bird photography and like how to do the
Right.
logistics and run and operate the whole thing.
Mhm.
That's
Do
awesome.
you have an issue? Not an issue because obviously people are paying, but like balancing your own shooting time where you're there, or does that happen before the workshop?
Yeah, good question. So I do it before and after. This year I'm actually
Okay.
going out to I'm going to scout for one in Ireland this year, and then I'm gonna go
Hmm,
to Newfoundland and stay there for about 6 weeks, maybe even longer than that this year, just to really want to really know like everything. I want to know everything that I possibly can, any little hidden gems, talk to the locals, anything like that.
Ireland is interesting. What's a target species over there?
Same thing. I've fallen in love with seabird colonies, and I just think
Okay.
they're an incredible sight to see. If you ever get to sit just near one, even if you're not shooting, just to go to one is just it's so much. There's so much wildlife and things happening, and
Mhm.
that's the main draws. Just fallen in love with seabirds, and I just want to do that more and share that more. So that's the main
Yeah.
draw with I'm going to Wales and Ireland, and everything's just kind of so close
Okay.
together over there. But that's the
Yep.
main draw.
Yep.
that's awesome. I like terns for like the friendly practice seabird
Totally.
because they'll keep coming back, keep smashing the water. You can, and they're relatively quick, so it kind of warms you up for something that might
Yeah.
move a little quick. I
And
love a turn.
predictable.
Yep.
They
Yeah,
kind of have their own kind of like lines that they take, and you can kind of predict which way they're coming from, and yeah, and you can set yourself up for light stuff like that, knowing where they're going to be entering and exiting past you.
yeah. The I really like Wales, not really for birding. I've never been there, but there's a Welsh comedian that I really like, so I've always wanted to go there to like hear about and see places that he's talked about. So that's really cool. You're going to Wales. It's not a place people talk about going to very often. So that's cool.
No, yeah, that's why I was interested to kind of know what was there, because I don't
Mhm.
even know what's there. But obviously a seabird colony does make sense.
Yeah, the main thing in Wales is there's an island there called Scomer Island. That's like
Hmm.
if when you see photos of puffins online where they're like super super close, that's where most people are. They're usually
Hmm.
in Wales on that island, or they're up in Scotland, Newfoundland, and then a couple of spots in Ireland. But those are kind of the main
Right.
ones. And yeah, I think Wales kind of goes under the radar. I didn't know much about it. It was actually folks on Instagram that pointed me out to go there, and I think they have the most castles, like for a country,
Mhm.
like the most like per capita or something like that. Yeah, I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. So I'm excited
Is
to
there
go.
one close enough that you could get like a puffin on a castle?
No, no. I mean that'd be sweet. I
Oh,
mean I
that'd be
don't know. I
great.
haven't been. I've never
That
seen it. But
that would be great. That'd be a
If you
cool
threw
photo.
some little herring up there, maybe you could get one to land.
Get them
yeah.
to land a couple kilometers. Huh.
the I the I don't even know what I'm saying. I just started talking without having an idea. I'm just thinking of I'm just thinking of shooting turns now. I haven't shot a turn in too long. And I was like, I want to go somewhere with turns, but they're not back yet. I don't travel to like Newfoundland and places yet. I want to get there. The podcast has to get to a little bit more viewers first, and then maybe we'll go. We'll do an Angry Birds pod from Wales, all three of us.
That would be
Hey,
great.
all
There you go.
right.
Live on
Trav,
location with the puffin.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Trav, do you think what's more pressure for you? Obviously, you've built a strong community on Instagram, but what adds more pressure for you? The workshops or keeping up? to growing your reach and your social media?
Definitely the workshops for sure, because that's
Okay.
um the short form
We're
stuff
stumping them
I've
like
just
this.
gotten. The short form stuff is I've got like a system down where I can do it pretty quickly. Like I post kind of the same thing like over and over. It just different. I just show different things, but the meat and potatoes of what
Yeah.
I do for my shorts is easier. But the workshops is definitely a lot more pressure because you're relying on so many things that I don't have control over. So
Right.
and just the anxiety of just like these people are relying on you to give them a good
Mhm.
experience, and I got to make sure that I deliver on that. So I even like when I was guiding before, it's always like I'm not the night before I'm not sleeping. Like it's a lot, definitely way more pressure to make sure like hey like and I care. I want these people to have a really good time. So it's a lot more, definitely a lot more pressure, and like and all those little logistical things of is the lodge and did the lodge write down the right date? Like I've already called them to make sure everything's like still a go like ahead of time because definitely way more pressure with the workshops than with socials.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I had a question and then it floated away. I'm really bad today. Apparently, my mind is just like spaced out into the atmosphere or something. So I don't know. I really want to go to like one of these workshops. I've like thought about it, but I'm like, I don't know who to go with. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I like a bunch of different like people on Instagram, and I
Yeah.
was like, who should I pick for going at these? So I want like I'm not asking you this question because you're on like the other side of the fence
Yeah.
about it, but like I wonder how people choose who they decide to go on these
If
workshops
Trav
with.
doesn't say go with me, then he's not doing very good marketing.
You know what? I am gonna do bad
Sure.
marketing here. I am gonna say don't go with me, and that the way
Oh.
you just said, well, just like what you just said there is how do I get somebody? How do I know who to go with? I went to um for my birthday. I went down to the San Diego Birding Festival, and my main
Ooh.
reason of going down there was because I wanted to see how this was run, see how they ran their events, and also there was a whole bunch of bird photographers there that were running workshops. And when I went down there, that's immediately when I learned. I learned right away. I was like, wow, these people, like people that were running little, like little seminars and things like that. They were from the
Mhm.
area, and they had like amazing fans. Like, people were there to see them. Sitting in the audience, and there's people shouting out like, "Oh, I can't wait to go to the Galapagos with you!" Like, I'm like, wow, like this is actually, in my opinion, like that's way more powerful than what I do. What I do just looks flashy, like oh, a bunch of followers. But no, like what these folks are doing, like actually going out into their own communities, building real connections with other people, and then those are the people that are going on their workshops. They're going to do seminars with them throughout the year, or camera clubs, or hey, come to the local park with me. They're a good photographer, so it'd be like
Mhm.
Kyle, that's like a really great. So where the Harriers are, if you know where like really good spots where the Harriers are, take the local people out. They go shoot with you. They say, "Wow, that was an awesome experience." And then you say, "Hey, I'm actually going to Newfoundland 3 months from now. You want to come?" That's that's kind of how the people build that relationship of like, who do I go with? Like, I don't really know who to go with. You go with the people that you've really met, shaken their hand, you've met them in person, you've really
Yeah,
liked them as a
that makes
person.
sense.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Unfortunately, I think I only really know good mallard spots. I don't really know good other spots.
Yeah, it's okay. If you can get people the best mallard shot they've ever gotten, then you got something.
It was fun. We have a little WhatsApp group that we like just chat and stuff in, and we had a not a contest because there's only like a couple of us in there, but we wanted to have like a little contest with ourselves and just take the best duck shot. And I was like, I'm going mallard. I'm gonna go like sepia mallard with like some crazy bokeh, and I actually got a shot I was pretty happy
Nice.
with. And I was like, I'm so annoyed this is with a mallard. Like if this was with anything else, it'd be kind of doper, but Oh well, mallard.
No, but I think that's what, like, if you can take an uncommon photo of a common bird, like, you're crushing it. My favorite
Yeah.
photo of this year is of a mallard in the snow. It's my favorite one.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Those are the
Yeah.
ones that are often most overlooked, and I'm guilty of it. Are just going past those common birds and looking for something, and often going home striking out because I've tried to find something else
Yep.
Well, like
Yeah.
and
even last
walked
weekend,
past. Yeah.
even last weekend, Matt, like we didn't have the best day, or at least I didn't. But
No,
I got some
I didn't
shots I
either.
really liked of some red-winged blackbirds, and I was like, it just happened to land beside me on a rock instead of on a branch or something, and it was still doing its like wah kind of stuff, just standing on a rock. And I was
Yeah,
like,
you missed.
I was like, sweet,
You missed emo bird week, but you got the shot still.
yeah. I didn't get the breath or anything, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a good point though. Stuff the common stuff is definitely overlooked, and that's where you can actually become more artistic, a little more artistic, and add more elements and have more time to kind of get that right angle. And I think most people do often overlook that.
Oh, for sure. I'm still
I don't
guilty
know
of
if
it
people.
too.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to jump on a workshop to do that, but just as individuals on weekends, there's nothing wrong with trying to remember that.
Yeah.
it's chickadee
sure.
week for me.
And chickadee week, yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Have you ever had any issues? Not issues. Have you ever had to step in or say anything while running a workshop about any ethical or unethical behavior? Or is usually most people you're kind of setting obviously kind of the guide rules, and people are kind of following by your example. But have you had anything like that in the past that's kind of come up?
Never with wildlife photography guiding, but when I was doing the other guiding, yeah, you'd have.
Yeah.
Normally, it wasn't. Normally, it's not with your own group; it's with other groups. So if I'm on
Okay.
a hiking trail, and if I'm in a national park and there's set rules, some people will,
Hmm.
not abide by the rules, and then I have to. It's a hard balance because you most of the time you step in and you try and be nice and say something, and you just get told to F off. It's like, all right, well, okay.
Yeah.
It's hard.
You can
Yeah,
swear
and I
if you
think-
want. If you want to make that even more intense. Halfway
Yeah,
in.
we told me
By
to
the way, you
fuck
can swear.
off.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it's interesting because you will see posts where people will go online and post just saw this, just saw that, because a lot of people are afraid to say something because you're just not really sure how that engagement is going to play out.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tough call, and you definitely it's hard because I find it kind of goes both ways. Like I've seen that online too, where people are like, oh, I saw somebody getting too close to something, so I went up to them and I yelled at them and told them to stop. And then it's like, well, you're right there, you're initiating like a fight because you're yelling at them, telling them to stop. It's like,
Yeah.
it's again, it's hard. It's hard to keep the emotions all in check and just to say,
Yeah.
oh, hey, excuse me, I just not sure if you're aware. Actually, I saw it. I did a trip. Actually, is hard. So I made a post and it doesn't exist anymore. I took it all down because it was going viral, but not in a good way. I made a post about when I to Australia that has these they're called hooded plovers, endangered. They only live in South Australia on a couple of beaches there. And there's signs everywhere that say like, do not walk your dog on this beach. There's a woman with an off-leash dog walking her. And so I took a video of it, of the sign, and then just spun around and she was there. And I had like I think the song is called like "You're a Dumbass," like that's like that, and it was playing. But I posted it, and everybody was ripping on me. I was like, "What the heck?"
Wow.
Especially on TikTok, they were like, "Oh, you muffin, you soft, blah 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 blah." They're like, "You can't even read. Stick to photography, you idiot." I'm like, because everybody saw that the sign was like pointing one way, but I'm like, no, there's signs all up and down the beach. Like it just happened to be looking that way. Anyway, I took it down because I think in over less than 24 hours, like I know one of the videos was at like 400,000. The other one was at like I was like, no, I'm not having this. Like it wasn't good. So again, it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's a hard. I know I kind of went on a tangent there with your question, but it's
No.
yeah, it's a hard. It's a hard thing to to do, and I did do it wrong. You know, I was initiating that initial conflict, even the song, like you're a dumbass, like that wasn't right. Of like,
I think you did great.
yeah, that was what I was kind of going for.
I'm here
but-
for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked at like it made me feel for the folks that try and post like any like conservation effort or anything like that. I was
Yeah.
like, man, like you guys,
Yeah.
okay, I have more empathy for folks that are in that
Mhm.
realm because they
Oh,
probably just get hit
for
so
sure.
hard.
You'd be yeah, obviously you know, but it's just surprising like how many people will take that other avenue that you wouldn't think they ever would.
I know. I
You
was
know what I mean?
shocked. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that I would say I would say off leash dogs are one of the only times I will actually voice my opinion to somebody because it just happened last weekend. But
Yep.
I feel like that's something that you should be able to police out there. You know, off leash dogs technically usually aren't allowed.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to use the park as well. It's just a friendly reminder. Outside of that, if I see any unethical behavior happening, more than likely that's just going to ruin the spot for me. Because if I say one thing to one individual, there's probably 3 or 4 more that are going to come through and do the same thing. It's probably a location issue more than a individual issue.
Yep.
Might
No, I
seem
totally
like a
agree.
dinner type of thing. So I would stay away. But with dogs, I usually will say something.
Yeah, you
Kyle
did.
had
I was surprised.
Kyle had well, there was a dog barking right in your face, laying on the beach, shooting red-breasted mergansers, right in your face, barking at you.
Yep.
Inches.
It like they were up at we were on this rocky beach. There was 4 of us. We were shooting together, all laying on this beach in like relatively the same spot. And this group of people showed up at it's kind of, you had to go up a little kind of bank to get up where the path was. And there was like a group of 2 or 3 people with like 2 or 3 dogs. And they clearly wanted to let their dogs run around on that beach. But they saw us. And then 2 of the people walked farther down to like where we were not. But the one person just like let the leash go. It was just this golden retriever came down and started just barking straight at me and my buddy Will. And then Matt was like, "Can you get your dog? Like, what the hell?" Like,
It wasn't even near me. It was just like
Yeah.
you can't have your dog barking in, people's faces regardless what they're doing. What if it was just someone sitting on the beach enjoying the sunrise?
But he's friendly.
Just in
He's
general.
friendly.
I mean, he was.
Yeah,
He was. Don't get me wrong. It's just you really don't want a dog barking. Like we had put some time and effort in to get down and get low and allow the ducks to come in and be comfortable with us. Which I'm sure duck photography is no joke when it comes to waiting for them to come to you. And I know that's kind of selfish. It's like we put all this effort into it, but you don't really need a dog barking in your face and scaring all the ducks away.
No, I'm in total agreement. They annoy the heck out of me.
Yeah.
I'm very tempted to make content about it, but I know it's such a sensitive thing after.
I didn't
The
have
positive
like,
stuff is probably better for you.
I didn't have the hooded plover scenario you had when I was in California, but we were just walking down a beach and there was a snowy egret that I was just kind of chasing around. And this dog like walked up to me with a ball. And I was like, "Where's this person?" And she was like so far down the beach. So then I threw the ball the direction of the person. And then I like turned back to the snowy egret. And then the dog comes back to me. I'm like, "No,
you're his new best friends.
I know. I did it so wrong." I was like, "No, go away."
Backfired.
No,
You should have
sure.
put the
He's like,
should have put the ball in your pocket. It's a game over.
"Yeah, nope, mine now." Bye. I want to circle back to something I forgot to talk about before. You were talking about how you always post the same like type of reel, but the content like changes and stuff.
Yeah.
I always talk about other photographers about like how I don't feel like I have a style, and I kind of want one because I like scrolling past and be like, "Oh, that's so and so, that's so and so," and you know that if you're getting a big lens straight in your face, like it's gonna be a Trav reel, so you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna stick with this one." So like, it's cool to have like a style or like it might be the same, but it's not. It's a skeleton that within it, there's some good stuff to look at. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm kind of jealous in a way, I think is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it honestly, it was the analytics that do the skits, even though that's what I got initially known for, and they like when you look at them and they look at the numbers, it's like, oh, that did like really well, but the ROI is actually horrible. I have a reel that got I think it got like over 1 million views, and it gained 300 followers. Which for some folks, they'll get a reel that gets 1 million views and they gain 20,000 followers overnight. It was like a vanity metric. It was pure vanity. It would just like do really well, but actually when you looked at the analytics, it was like, well, this actually didn't get me like any followers. It took me a long time to make, to think, to all that. Whereas what you're talking about, just kind of this like skeleton type reel, it actually does way better. It doesn't look as flashy. It doesn't it doesn't get as many views, but from what the things that I want for it to gain and what I want to attract, it actually works, and it's so much faster. It's pretty easy to slap together. So it's like, well, this actually kind of works better. So
Interesting.
I'm surprised it works at all, to be honest. I don't know how it works.
yeah, no, I'm in agreement.
You know what I mean? Like kudos to you. It's not really my speed, but I don't know how it works, and I don't know how it gets so much engagement. And maybe that's just because there's so many new photographers in 2025, 2024, a few years past, that are getting into wildlife. Like I have only been doing it 5 years myself, so relatively new. So maybe that's kind of the push, is all the newer. It's how easy is it to pick up a camera in 2025 and get something that you can build off of, something instantly out of the box where you can get it in focus and have a positive photo to share with somebody. Replace that. 15 years ago, that wasn't possible. You actually needed skill and put time and effort into it to at least get even something in focus. So I think like the benefit of having these very super intelligent cameras allow more people to stick with it and then go searching for more information on how to get better. And that's where you come in, obviously.
I love that. Like that's I feel the same way, because exactly what you just said. It gets people into it. And that's I almost gave it up at the beginning because I got like the shitty starter camera with the the cheap kit, like just that.
Yeah,
It makes you just like, autofocus sucks. Like I can't get what I'm look at these guys, how are they doing this? Well, yeah, when you actually get the camera that works, and I'm not saying go out and buy the best of the best, but you get
You're not? Okay, I was gonna go.
You don't even need to.
no,
Even
like,
even the cheap stuff from Canon, certainly. Like I know Nikon's a little bit more expensive to get some of those features, and Sony, but Canon has some entry level stuff that can get you going like pretty good.
yeah, no,
Pretty quickly.
100%. And even like the an older DSLR that are like a Nikon D7, I think it was like Nikon D750. Like that's a full frame
750,
camera
yeah.
from 2014, and that thing's great. Canon, the
It is
7D Mark II,
yeah.
like that's a good workhorse.
I think
Well,
a
even
big
the
hang up.
D500.
I think a big hang up on those is not having the live view.
True.
So you still have to learn the exposure triangle. It's great cameras. I mean, we think they're great cameras, but as an absolute beginner, like they're a lot harder to work with over something that does have the live view and like the auto tracking and stuff like that.
That's fair.
Everyone should start on a DSLR with like 5 focus
I did.
points, and that
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Like over a decade ago.
Like
I've only been doing
anything in
wildlife
focus
for
with
5
this.
years, but yeah. I started trying wildlife first with a 5D Mark III, which sounds like a good camera, and it is, but it only had like 70 focus points, and there was really no servo. Like it was servo. It did have continuous focus, but it didn't lock on or didn't do anything special.
It's different when you want to
great
go into
camera.
wildlife, especially. Like if you want to shoot
Yes.
portraits or landscapes, whatever you
Yes.
got. But
This is-
wildlife is
yeah.
very different.
This is very wildlife specific. My thinking on this, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I know people always are like asking me like how I get certain shots, because I think that and my favorite thing now is like, you didn't take that with your phone, did you? I'm like, no, like there's no way.
Well, people keep getting told how good cell phone cameras are nowadays.
Yeah.
So
It's like, this is real portrait mode, not whatever the phone's doing. Like this is different. But like, I remember I learned on a DSLR, and my first DSLR was the T2i. So the Canon T2i. So I only had like a few focus points, and I was chasing red-tailed hawks around with that thing, and I was having a blast. For like it's still fun. Like you can still do it. It's just
Ignorance is bliss. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah,
let's be
that's
you don't know
real.
what you're
true.
Let's be
missing. You're
real.
like
Let's be
3
real.
frames per second, no problem. Click,
Some
click.
some days I wish I could
Click.
just go back to where I didn't know what I knew, or I didn't know the people that I know that push you to do better, and I could just do my own thing and enjoy my shitty photos. Some days, and this is just a hobby, like, and it's still sometimes just frustrating. You're like, I just wish I could go back to year one.
Just scroll all the
Totally
way
get
back
that.
on Instagram. That's why I leave it all on there.
I still archive those photos just so I don't have to worry.
Yeah, I like when people ask me like where I go for birds. Sometimes, I I say this to I think everybody that we talk to, but my kind of I don't have a style, but I think my photography is showing birds doing what they're doing where they're doing it. That's kind of what I always say. And I
Yep.
kind of like showing when there's something sort of man-made in the background to show that I'm not in the middle of butt flip nowhere. Like this is a beach in a park in Toronto. This is a pond behind a subdivision. And it's like you can find stuff here. Like there's going to be warblers bouncing around these trees. There's in this pond. There's a pied-billed grebe with some maybe a bittern or something in the bushes. Like if you just look at stuff for like a more than 1 second, like you'll find stuff. And I think people just don't look around. So kind of my motivation for doing it is to kind of make people look around because I don't think people do that enough anymore.
Yeah,
They do
that's
this.
great. Like I think a lot of yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of us all when you see wildlife photography online, it's like, oh, that person must be out in the like back country doing something crazy. And it's like, nah, I just took that local pond in my back like a block away.
Like I'm the idiot laying in the ditch, and people are walking past me like, what is that guy doing?
Yes. Happens way too much.
Mm-hmm.
I know for sure. And that's
Another.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna go on another question, and it is locations wise, but what's your philosophy on like on sharing locations or like sensitive species yourself?
Oh,
You know,
I'm like
'cause-
super conflicted about it actually. Like the
okay.
more into it I've gotten. I was gonna make a YouTube video about it. I wrote it today because this is super controversial and like you guys can I'm interested to hear what you
Absolutely.
say.
All right,
But like owl locations, especially
Mhm.
like owls nests and things like that, my opinions change and I think it's really easy for all of us as wildlife photographers to immediately see that big crowd and be like, oh, this is horrible, this is the worst thing ever. How could you? But I feel like we go I don't know. I feel like I don't know if in wildlife photography we just start to get a little bit of like entitlement and like we start to feel a little bit gatekeepy. Like, oh, this isn't real wildlife photography. Like this is bad for the animal. This is this. This is that. And the reason my opinions change is because there's a spot near my place where the city did a great job. They put up a nice like perimeter around. The owl returns year after year. I think this is his third or fourth year that I'm aware of that it's there. Do people come? Yeah, they do. But what kind of an impact is that having on those people that are there? Not all of them are wildlife
Mhm.
photographers. Some of them are older folks that have never had an opportunity to see a wild owl in their lives.
Oh, for
And
sure.
what impact is that going to
Mhm.
have on them? There's kids
Mhm.
there that actually get to see that will never have the opportunity to go into the back country or go camping or go anything like that. And that's their only opportunity to see that animal. What kind of impact is that going to have on that kid to physically be there versus watching it in a documentary where they can just dream about it, but now they're actually there. So I
Mhm.
get I get the observation and like, we don't want to scare it away. We want to be respectful, but that's also a great teaching opportunity for the public to how to react and to teach people that with that there. So I think
Yeah.
if done properly, it can have a good balance. And you're still gonna have the wildlife photographers that are gonna be like, it's ruining everything, but it actually can be helping because it's getting people more connected. But again, that's a bit of a hot take. I do get that it can be bad because there's always the good and the bad. There can be the bad where it's when people aren't looking, when people aren't there, there's people going past those gates and getting too close, throwing rocks at it.
Yeah,
You know,
those locations do exist
yeah,
exactly, and that's why it's a tough line to walk, because Kyle and I have a few areas where you can do just what you explained, and you can have that same feeling that elderly individual or that young kid can yourself, even though you've seen dozens of owls
Yeah.
previously. You still get that same feeling. My only issue is the people just in general. I'd rather just go where there's no people.
Totally.
That's just,
Yeah.
that's just me. It really doesn't have much to do with the conservation. It doesn't have much to do with if it's a bad location. No, I'm not for that. I'm not for the antics. I'm not for knocking the tree that a screech owl is sitting in with a stick to wake it up. So you
No.
rise. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in it happens. I'm not interested in that type of stuff. But when something becomes pleasant and everyone's amicable and it's a good experience for everyone, but it still becomes celebrity status, I'm just not interested in shooting side by side, shoulder to shoulder with people, and that's just my own personal preference.
I'm the same
I'd rather
way.
just go. I'd rather go find somewhere that's just quiet and by myself, because I'm very much kind of an introvert in that way when I'm out shooting.
Yeah, I haven't, like those owls I'm talking about. I saw them the first year I moved here. I haven't been back. I'm gonna go back to shoot maybe that YouTube video about it, but I don't go.
Sure.
I just, but
Yeah.
my whole take is that, and I get it from your perspective as well. It's not for us, but I'm not gonna bash it either. I'm not gonna, if that's what you want to
Right.
do, if that's your,
Right.
maybe you have a mobility issue or something like that. If that's your
Yeah.
chance to get close to an owl, awesome, love it.
Yeah.
Is that the place I want to go shoot?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. When you start to understand and get to know individuals, whether you know them personally or you just know them from a hashtag, or not hashtag, an Instagram handle, you also find that a lot of these individuals do just jump onto celebrity locations, and they're the same individuals that are going to all those places, and that's kind of greasy in my opinion too, because they're kind of chasing that social media status or that clout of getting that photo and that FOMO and just not wanting to miss out.
They're all
Yeah.
the eBird photographers.
So there's that aspect of it too, and that's probably again me probably thinking about it too much and also giving myself the out for not going. I'm like, that's why I don't want to go. Really, it's just I don't really want to shoot where other people are shooting very often. It just takes away from the experience. I live outside of a big city by an hour north, a very small rural hamlet, and I don't have to fight for positions to take photos because there's not many photographers around me. So putting myself into a position like that just is out of my norm, I guess.
I think for me, it like for the whole conservation versus like celebrity bird status and stuff, there's like you have to kind of, it's discretionary and it's situation based. So around me, I've referenced this owl before. There's a screech owl in a park pretty close to my house. I call him Fred. This screech owl is the most patient, calm, doesn't give a shit screech owl ever. His one spot that he sits, the base of the tree is on the edge of the trail. Literally, like you could lean against the tree and still be standing on the path. He'll be 8 foot up, just huddled down, eyes closed, tucked in, and just sit there all day. Hundreds of people will pass him. People will kick the tree, not knowing he's there, and he just stays. And like, that was the first owl that I was shown when I started doing bird photography. And I've shown that owl to a bunch of people, and it's kind of started their enjoyment of it. So I totally get that side of things. Someone who has mobility issues can easily get to this guy. But then like, no one's standing there for hours and hours with their group of 40 people. Like, people are passing by and they're like, oh. It's when you get the like, we had trouble here in a park in Toronto where people were doing dumb shit to get pictures of short-eared owls that just settled in this park one winter. And like, the conservation authorities had to take some away because they got sick and injured because of how many people were showing up. And that's when I start having problems. Yeah. So like, somewhere in the middle is where the proper section is. So like, just stay away from the ends.
Yeah.
Terrible at self-governing, or some of us are terrible at self-governing. You know what I mean? We all have the opportunity to make that choice.
It's for the gram. You got to do it.
It's for the
gram. It's all that matters. You got to get caught up in those numbers and views, and they got to go up.
Yep.
So I got to get good shots of short-eared owls.
Well, now we know a little bit more about the secret sauce on how to get those views up a little bit more.
Yeah.
I know, Trav. I know you're under a bit of a time restraint. I think we're getting close to that time. I want to thank you for coming on. I was intrigued to have you on because I had seen your content, and I know not that it really was for me, but I was always interested in what you were about, and I think obviously I know I understand you a little bit more and what you're all about, and it was, it's nice to have the conversation with you and kind of get to know you a little bit more. So I do appreciate you coming on with us.
No, of course, guys, and I really appreciate you having me on. I really enjoy it. This is awesome. It's great getting to meet you both.
I was glad when you said, yeah, I'd love to jump on, because you never know, you're a busy guy, and so I
for
figured,
sure. I really.
why not shoot the shot? Good.
Yeah, we haven't been doing this podcast very long, and we've gotten to talk to a couple pretty cool people that, like, when new people start looking at bird reels and stuff, or bird Instagram, like, it's a couple of the ones you find first, and it's cool to be able to just connect and talk. And for me, in the same way that someone might teach someone photography or get them into photography, maybe this will get someone into, like, starting a podcast and talking to these people. Like, I don't know, it might be kind of fun. So what he said, I agree with.
No, for sure. Oh, and
it's you don't always get to know, you don't get to know too much about behind the account until you actually sit down and kind of have a conversation to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should do a series, Behind the Lens.
Exactly. So it's always nice to sit down and just kind of get to know people, especially when you have the platform now to have people on and get to know them a little bit more. So we do appreciate it.
Yeah, right on.
No, for sure. And thanks a lot, guys. I wanted to tell you too, I love your intro. Your intro is awesome.
It goes hard, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I was at the gym and I was like, yeah, Angry Birds.
I think one of our friends, Rain, said, because we don't really have like an intro video, it's just the logo on YouTube, and he says this song goes way too hard for me to sit here for over 30 seconds listening to the song.
Just staring at the bird logo.
We might have to work on something. I might have to hit you up on DMs for some tips on what we need to do.
Intro done by Trav. That'd be sick.
No, for sure. But I do love it. I was like, this is sick.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
it worked out well. It worked out well.
Yeah. So if we're gonna wrap this up, normally we have the guest kind of cue the music at the end of the podcast. So I'd like to thank you, Trav. It's been a blast. Would be happy to do it again if you wanted later down the road. Maybe once we get more followers, and then I love this. It's been so much fun.
Oh, for sure. This has been a blast. I'd love to come on again. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Right on. You're always invited. When do you want the music to start?
Right now. Cue it.
It's going.
This has been Trav on the pod.
Trav on the pod. Love both of you guys.
All right, love you guys.
Talk to you later.
Peeping through the scope, freeze frame the fly. Angry Bird Pod Show, aiming for the sky. Oh, they click in the snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this one never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels, flying so divine. Peep the live broadcast, podcast goldmine. Twisting in the air, birds of every kind. Critics gonna chirp, but they ain't ever died. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. Oh, they click in the snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this one never in the past. Dawn of twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Oh, they click and they snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this but never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels, flying so divine. Keep the live broadcast, podcast goldmine. Twisting in the air, birds are back, so fine. Brain Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tuning in next week, this but never in the past. In the past. Tuning in next week, this but never in the past. In the past. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. from dawn to twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Oh, they click and they snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this but never in the past. From the past. Not shortcut. Not shortcut. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Bringing all the glee.